If you don't have a long-term mindset, you're not going to make it in business anyways. You have to have a long-term mindset. Spend a year, trying to get to your 10K, 20K, 50K plus months. Then you go to your million. Like you have to look at this. Like, what is your 5-year plan? What is your 10-year plan? And move right now for where you're going based on what you need. So you don't skip the strategy steps. What's up, Savages? You're listening to the Strategies of a Savage CEO podcast. I'm your host, Demi, and if you don't know me yet, it is no wonder you're not making the sales that you want to be making in your business, but that's about to fucking change. I've scaled my business to almost 8 figures in revenue over the past few years, and I've helped thousands of women make the money they deserve. Not through fluffy things like manifestation or energy work, but through real, non-BS money-making strategies that drive insane results. I'm talking things like crafting powerful content rooted in actual human psychology so that you know every single time you post it's going to convert. I'm talking about designing irresistible offers and building recurring revenue streams in your business structure. I'm talking about implementing real systems that actually scale your business into a 7-figure brand. It is time for you to go full savage mode with your business strategy to truly get the results you not only want, but deserve. So let's get into the episode. What's up, Savages? Welcome back to another episode of Strategies of a Savage CEO. And today we are talking about what got you here won't get you there. I know you've heard that phrase before when it comes to business strategy, but baby, that it also includes your mentors, your mentorship, and your education. So in this episode, I really want to pull back the curtain on how mentorship has really evolved for me at every level of my business, from going to my first 100K and what I needed to now operating a multi-million-dollar company. And I want to talk about this a little bit in the way of going from an I need support and to I need high level leadership. Okay, so let's get into it. When I was scaling to my very first 6 figures, I was in that hustle and how phase, right? So my baby CEO days, I like to call them, I was in full sponge mode. I didn't need someone just to see me. I needed somebody to tell me what the hell to do. And that's where so many women I see get really stuck or let their ego get in their way because they think that they're above the basics. They think that they learn a little bit about content or they learn a little bit about strategy and then they're good to go, which is not the case whatsoever. You actually need to be consistently learning the how-to on your way to 6 figures, right? You're building the foundations. Honestly, I think your first 10K month, your first 6 figures, it's the hardest aspect of your business because nobody knows you, nobody trusts you, and you are doing more to prove who you are and how good you are at what you do. And you're learning so much along the way, right? It's kind of this constant back and forth between being that sponge and taking massive, messy action. And, even going to your first 6 figures, you want to take messy action, but you also want to take intentional action. So when I was looking at mentorship in my 6 figures, going there, I was literally tell me what to do. I'm going to do it, right? I wanted the blueprint. I wanted the swipe files. I wanted the step-by-step, my make money now action plans. Give me all of the strategy, give me the templates, give me the posts, the captions. I craved having somebody to tell me exactly what to do. And I think that still, honestly, if you're going to even your first 10K, 20K, 30K month, you should realistically still be in that phase. Honestly, I think you should be in that phase until you are so consistent at multi 6-figure years, right? Being that sponge and implementing the step-by-step strategy so that you're also building your skill set in business. And I think that's where a lot of people fuck things up too, right? Is you actually are not building a skill set in business when you're only trying to do high level things, high level leadership, high level strategy, whatever it is. You need to go back to the foundational pieces, the basics of business building first, right? So you have to learn how to post. You have to learn marketing. You have to learn how to sell. You have to learn, be confident. And that all comes from action, right? When I started, I really didn't know I didn't know as much as I do today, obviously. It was hey, how do I create a landing page? Hey, how do I actually build the website? Hey, how do I actually create this piece of content? What are the systems that I'm using? So you're literally in such a learning phase and an action phase, and you have to be able to kind of do both at the same time. So when you're looking for mentorship, when you're going to your first 6 figures, you need to be in group programs. You need to be investing in courses and in programs that are going to give you done for you scripts, templates, step by steps. You're not above that, right? Group programs and online courses for me were so pivotal in me making my first six figures because it gave me the step by steps. And I was somebody who was just ready to take action. And so as soon as I had a plan, it was implemented immediately, right? Tactical education. It was launch methods, sales scripts, funnel building, watching, looking at my mentors who were, 1 to 10 steps ahead. And honestly, getting some validation around like, am I doing this right? Right? Oh, I have this idea. How would you do this? And until you build up a lot of that trust muscle too, right? And build the evidence that, what you are doing works. And I think that's a big piece too, is like when you're going to that first six figures, first multi six figures, you are literally building your trust muscle. You're building your trust muscle in regards to investment. You're building your risk tolerance. You're building your action. Like how hard are you going to work, right? You're building a lot of discipline. And you have to be disciplined. Like, honestly, you have to be the most disciplined person in the room. And I think that a lot of people don't get to where they want to go because they don't have discipline. It's not that they're not smart, they're not talented, etc. It's that they don't have discipline. They're looking for the easy way out. They want to just be in a slack. Here's the thing that pisses me off is clients that are women, that want to get to their first six figures, even multi six. So even like I'm saying $20,000 a month, let's say, even up to $30,000 a month. So, $240,000 to $360,000 a year. You need to be in a place where you have the structure and strategy. So many women want to bypass that and they just want to like take a lazy way out and go directly into like Slack with a one-on-one mentor or having all this one-on-one time and getting all this support and all these things. Awesome. But then the investment for that is so much higher. And right now where you are in the business, you actually don't have the proper cash flow for that. And I wouldn't advise that. Honestly, if you have not made consistent $30,000 month, $30,000 months yet, and you are not in some sort of group program course mastermind for that exact thing, then there's no point in you actually having any access whatsoever to anybody one-on-one. I don't believe you need it at all. I think you need to be a sponge and I think you need to learn discipline and action, right? You need to be able to take what a mentor is telling you inside of your group programs, inside of your courses, etc., and go and implement that and really learn. And that is the hardest part of business. And it's why so many people don't make it, is because they let their ego get in the way or they let their laziness get in the way of their discipline. Getting to your first six figures, getting to your first $30,000 a month, it is all about action, discipline, and implementation of what it is that you are learning strategically, tactically to add to your business strategy, right? So like this stage for you needs to be very consume and implement. I think it's great for you to have support of a mentor, but you don't need to be up their ass in Slack or one-to-one. You literally just don't need it. I really think that you can get to where you want to be if you're investing in proper support, like my programs, for an example. They are structured for women going to the 20 to 30K month mark, and you don't need to be talking to me in a Slack group every single fucking day. You just don't. It's actually hurting your success, because then you're at a point where you're always seeking validation. You're always plugging in and asking, you are not actually teaching yourself discipline on how to be a student. And I think that's such a big piece that people bypass. They learn how to be a client. They don't learn how to be a student. And I think that if more women just learn how to be that sponge and implement, they would be so much farther along in business, right? Because at this point too, you're like figuring out your voice, your offers, your systems, and you're likely still proving to yourself that this works, right? And that mentorship of that stage is so necessary for you to be able to, yes, have some conversation with a mentor, but you don't need one-on-one. You literally don't, right? What you need is a group program or a mastermind that allows you to, yes, speak with a mentor, but gives you the step-by-step tactical actions to take for success to get you to the 10K, 20K, 30K mark. Okay. When I was shifting then into going to my seven figures, so going into my first, 10K, 30K, 50K months, etc., I was really at this point where I was investing heavily in masterminds. Like that is all I invested into, because I got to speak with the mentor directly, but I also got, like I said, number one, I also networked, which built my connections in this industry, which is massive and such an underrated strategy. Your connections in this industry matter. I think that people think the industry is a lot bigger than it actually is. It's actually very small. People talk. And how I built such a big presence and credibility piece online was being in masterminds, being on people's podcasts that I met in the masterminds, collaborating, doing Instagram lives, like literally building my network. And it really is true what they say, your network is your net worth. I had so many clients that were referred to me from people in masterminds. I had people in the masterminds hire me because of how amazing I am and what I did and what I brought to the table in the mastermind as well, right? Always constantly winning, always constantly asking the deeper questions, etc. Like I had so many clients hire me from masterminds that we were actually in together. Actually, one of my longer standing clients, she's been with me for like 4 years. She actually hired me out of a mastermind we were in together back in like 2020 or 2021, whenever that was. But realistically, I just was like masterminds. And then when I went to that shift to seven figures, when I was already at that like 50K mark, let's say, and I knew I wanted to go to like $80,000, $100,000 months, I was shifting to my first seven-figure year. And I mean cash, right? Not all time sales. Fuck that shit. Like it's good, but it's not actually, it doesn't actually mean you have a seven-figure business. I see it as you have a seven-figure business when you made seven figures in cash in a year. And that's your expansion area, right? Like when I was scaling towards my first million, I didn't just need the tactics anymore. I already had that mastered. I needed the precision. I needed the refinement pieces. I didn't necessarily need more ideas. I needed to know which ones to execute the hell out of and how to refine what I had already built so that it could be even more scalable, right? I didn't need to be told what to do anymore. I was self-sufficient at that point. But I needed somebody to mirror back what I already knew, but maybe couldn't see, or what I was too close to in my business. I needed somebody to be able to support me and hold me through changing boundaries, up leveling my clients, the higher level sort of conversations that you get to at that point, right? So at going to seven figures, when I was already making $50,000 plus a month, going to seven-figure years, I needed mentorship at that stage to look like private coaching and even higher level masterminds. There was a point where I had four coaches at once. I had an emotional intelligence coach. I was in a mastermind with a high level mentor, and I had a one-on-one coach. And then there were people that I would hire here and there for like very specific niche problems that I wanted somebody's eyes on, right? I needed a little bit more of that energy as well. I needed a lot more of that leadership, clearing mindset blocks, refining business foundations, like the personalized scaling plans, like my offer suite evolution, when I took my offers evergreen, how that actually had to look systematically on the back end, team delegation, back end operations, like the bigger conversations around like retention, building more even recurring revenue, leadership, brand, like all of those pieces, the bigger picture, right? And this is where mentorship became about like more focus for me instead of just those tactics, right? Instead of just getting the step by steps. So I think that's one of the biggest pieces is also like mentorship on, how to really build a company, not just like a little Instagram business, how to build a company in the longer term. Now, I've always been very strategy driven. I know what I'm doing. Like I'm very strategic. I know how to build a company. I know all these things, but I needed somebody in my corner at that point too that could get it and that could call me out on bullshit that I was not doing or areas that I was still playing small in and help me rise, right? Help me hold things, help me deal with clients. The more things that happen and the more, you scale up your business, I don't think people realize the more problems actually do start to happen, right? Like you're going to run into capacity issues, you're going to run into client problems, you're going to run into client experience things that you need to shift, change, etc. Like there are fires that start to happen as you scale your business. And so I almost started to have to wake up expecting fires, but knowing I had a mentor that understood exactly where I was, has been through the exact same thing, and then could walk me through things, right? So I needed somebody to be like, here's the move that I would make, here's how I would lead this and make it click for me. And then really just call me to be a bigger and better leader. And I think that phase is still a phase that I'm in, right? The refinement, the legacy phase. Like these days, making multi-millions a year, my mentorship doesn't come from people that just teach me how to grow. It comes from people that teach me how to think, how to feel, how to lead at a higher level. And so mentorship now looks like, having a mentor that challenges my perspectives and not just my strategy, right? Support around team leadership, my investments, my legacy, my personal capacity, I think is massive, right? The personal development aspect, mentors who hold space for my complexity, my life, my wealth, my emotions, my impact, my rooms with fewer answers and more expansion. And this is why now I really invest more so in just one-on-one. I also don't necessarily at this level have the quote unquote time to be in a mastermind group chat and talking with everybody and coaching people in a mastermind and all these things because I have my own business to run. And so at this level of multi-millions, a one-on-one coach is all I need. I don't need to be doing all these extras because I physically don't have time. I need to focus on my own business, my own brand, and having somebody one-on-one in my corner. So honestly, like you don't need a one-on-one mentor until you get to the point of you scaling to multi-millions, like I think it's obviously dependent for different people, but if you right now are going to 100K months, you need to be in a very high level mastermind with one-on-one support. If you're already there, I think then you're a perfect candidate to be somebody who is a one-on-one client. Like you as a one-on-one client don't need your mentor to be fucking, editing your content every goddamn day. Like that drives me absolutely insane. Like I don't want clients that want to plug in and just be so analytical about every little piece and don't trust themselves. If you don't trust yourself to go and post a fucking piece of content, I don't want, right? That's not the client that I want in my higher level, like private mentorship. I want my private mentorship should be the woman that's already scaled to millions, and we're talking higher level things. You trust yourself. You are somebody that's just like, go, your mindset is in check. Like there are days where things are going to be harder. You're going to struggle. And there's things that we need to talk about and talk through emotional, like personal development wise, but you're not questioning yourself every day. You are just a go-getter, right? And you want me to be that grounded space for you. So you value mentorship in such a different way at this level, right? It's just like you value mentorship at every level that you go through, but there's such a difference in how you use mentorship and what you value in mentorship as you continue to grow, right? So at this stage, like I'm not being told just what to do. I'm paying for somebody to like help me expand my vision. I'm paying for somebody who is not just going to give me this checklist, but who can hold the weight of my vision and like just support me in it. So I think like mentorship, it's not just about learning, it's about evolving. And it's not going to be about being saved, it's about being seen. And as you grow, the kind of support that you're going to need will shift. And that's actually a really good thing, right? So if you're in a phase in your business where you're on your way to your first six figures, you're on your way to your first multi six figures, you should be in, like I said, group programs, masterminds, those sorts of things that give you the tactical strategy that help you get clear on all of the aspects that you need to be clear on to actually build a sustainable business. And then once you get to that point of like, you have that trust, you have mastered those foundations, you have recurring revenue, you're at those 50K months, now you're in a higher level mastermind that gives you that one-on-one support that really, can be that more partnership with you as you go to the first $1 million year. And then beyond that, you're not looking for mentorship that's tactical. You're really looking for mentorship that somebody to see you, somebody to just bounce ideas off of, somebody to help you with just like all of the things that you even don't have space for in the run of your day to day. You're looking for a mentor that can really like just be your partner in business and life. And I think that's the biggest program. That's the biggest like aspect in regards to mentorship. And I think the longer you let your ego get in the way and the longer you think you're above like group programs and those sorts of things, the longer you're going to stay stuck at the current income that you actually are, right? Now, I have spaces for you at every level of business. My SSA mastermind, my Savage Strategy mastermind, that is for you if you have not cracked the code on consistent 30K months and beyond, right? Then you want to come into my mastermind, my high level elite mastermind, when you're going to those, 50 to 100K months. And then private mentorship is for you if private mentorship is for you. There's not a lot of spaces. There's not a lot of capacity in my world for that because realistically, there's actually not a lot of women that get to that point because of all the things that I just mentioned. They let themselves not, they let their egos get in the way. They're not disciplined enough and they look for lazy way outs. Like a lot of women don't get to the multi-million-dollar mark because of those things, because they pull out of mentorship. They think they don't need it, whatever it is. Like there's so many things that I could talk about and go into here as to why women that don't scale to millions. But honestly, your first million starts right now and moving for where you are right now and not trying to skip steps. Okay. So this is what I want you to take away and look at where you are and then go and look at what you need. And if you have questions about what you actually need in regards to support right now or where you should be, you have those blind spots need filling, you have gaps in your strategy, then you should be coming into my DMs and you should be talking to me about where you fit in my world so we can fucking get to work and get you to where you want to be faster so then you can continue to scale because I know that's what you really want. I know you want to make this big impact. I know you want to live this big life and it all starts with you actually just moving for where you are, right? So that you can get to where you want to be. And I know like you're not making decisions right now about just based on where you are, but you're making decisions now based on where you're going. And that means that you need to be in a space right now to support you for where you are. Okay? Don't try to be investing in the multi-million-dollar, mastermind when you are, haven't hit a $40,000 month yet in your business. It just doesn't make sense for you. You have to do what makes sense strategically, tactically, and energetically for your business, for the moves that you actually need, for you building something sustainable and in the long term. And if you don't have a long-term mindset, you're not going to make it in business anyways. You have to have a long-term mindset. Spend a year, trying to get to your 10K, 20K, 50K plus months. Then you go to your million. Like you have to look at this. Like, what is your 5-year plan? What is your 10-year plan? And move right now for where you're going based on what you need so you don't skip the strategy steps. That's all I got for you today. You know what you need, but if you don't, like I said, my DMs on Instagram are open. Come in. But working with me is going to help you accelerate so much faster. I know business like the back of my hand. I've worked with thousands of women. I know what you need. I'll solve your business problems in 1 second on one call with me. I got you. I will show you the tactical steps that you need. I will coach you and mentor you on being the best leader you can be. And we'll go from there and we'll rise.